Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here. So in today's video, we'll be talking about Washington Commanders quarterback Jayden Daniels and how he looks unrecognizable. He looks super jacked and looks like he put on a lot of muscle so far this offseason. We'll talk about that, and then also Terry McLaurin not at practice, at least for the last practice, and what that means for his contract situation. Hard Knocks, we'll talk about that and much more. If you guys are new, make sure to subscribe, hit that like button and that notification bell as well so you never miss a video.
All right, and real quick, here's the picture of Jayden Daniels.
All right, so I showed you guys the picture, and like I said, Jayden Daniels looks like he put on a lot of weight this offseason, in terms of muscle, which is good. I know some people might be concerned that he loses speed. When you gain muscle, you usually don't lose a lot of speed. So I think this is really good for Jayden Daniels, and that was one of the biggest concerns, coming out on Jayden Daniels, that he was, too skinny and that he would get hurt a lot. So he didn't get hurt in his rookie year much. He had the rib injury, which was, he I guess he didn't miss a game. He missed, part of a game in the Panthers game, but he came back the next week for the Bears game, and they won that game. He wasn't necessarily the same player. He was a little bit banged up for a few weeks, but which did impact him. And the rib injury is definitely something that it was it happened because of a run. So putting on weight definitely can help, and I think that whether he put on, I don't know how much. You guys saw the picture, and I'm trying to work all this out. I'm on vacation, so editing's a little bit different. But he definitely gained at least 5 pounds, but probably like 10-ish pounds of muscle, in my opinion. And again, like I said, when he's going out and scrambling to the left, to the right, whatever, and he doesn't necessarily go out of bounds, which is not ideal, having a little bit of extra, armor and padding definitely can help in terms of not getting hurt. So I think this is a good thing for Jayden Daniels and the Washington Commanders. You know, I don't think he needs to add a lot of weight, but just, I don't think he needed to. But just adding a decent amount like he did is good. I'm, interested to see what he says and what the Commanders say. Adam Peters and Dan Quinn about how much he actually gained. I don't know if they'll give an exact number, but in terms of what he did gain, it looks good, and I think that it'll be beneficial for him. Hopefully, knock on wood, getting hurt a little bit less. I think that is something to watch out for sure. Because it'll allow him to maybe get hit a little bit more without getting hurt as much. And again, you don't want him to get hit at all, but that's going to happen. That's going to happen when you're a quarterback in general. You're going to get hit, even when you don't scramble. All these quarterbacks, they get hit. But especially Jayden Daniels, he's going to be running a lot. And, when you run out the pocket, you're going to get hit. And adding a little bit of armor is good. And I don't know for sure, how he'll be this year in terms of avoiding hits. It would be great if he doesn't really get hit much at all when he's running outside the pocket and he just goes out of bounds. But we know Jayden Daniels is a competitor. That's going to be hard for him. But I think overall, though, last year he did a really good job at that, avoiding hits and getting out of bounds as quickly as possible. Yes, there were some where it's like, all right, we wish he could limit those as, a little bit. But we're just going to have to wait and see. And some of the runs that he had were kind of unavoidable in terms of getting hit. He's running right through the middle, and that's not necessarily on him. That's more Cliff Kingsbury. So I would like to see those runs, decreased a little bit in terms of runs right up the middle by Jayden Daniels. The runs to the outside are much better because first off, there's a lot more space for him to make moves and stuff, but also you have that sideline if you do decide to, that you want to just go out of bounds, you can. Versus going up the middle, you don't really have that ability to, go out of bounds as much. And then also you're with a bunch of, 300-pound defensive linemen. So for me, I would like more outside runs. But that's kind of it on the Jayden Daniels front. Let's talk about Hard Knocks. So I believe, not totally in tune right now, but I believe they're going to have Hard Knocks in season NFC East. So Jayden Daniels and the Commanders. Then you got, Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and the Cowboys, Micah Parsons. Then you got the Eagles with Jalen Hurts and, all their players. And then the Giants with, all three of their quarterbacks, Dart, Russell Wilson, Winston, and then you got Malik Neighbors. I mean, they've got a decent team on defense for sure. So it'll be interesting. NFC East, in season Hard Knocks will definitely be interesting. Obviously, I'll be tuned in. You guys will be tuned in. It'll be good content too. For the channel, we'll get to talk, see some more behind the scenes, which I think is really cool, and we'll get some insights. I don't think it'll really be a distraction unless certain players make it one. I think if I'm an NFC East fan, I would be more worried about other teams making it a distraction, i.e., the Cowboys with Micah Parsons and some of the other players they have on the team, and then I think the Giants too. I could see that with Thibodeau and Malik Neighbors making it a little bit of a distraction. I don't see it much for the Commanders. So, something to watch out for as well. And then in terms of Terry, did see the news that he missed practice from Jordan Schultz. He said it's something to watch out for, not anything concrete in terms of, oh, this means he's holding out, because he did go to other practices. So maybe it's just a little bit of a message because, let's keep it real. Like, Terry deserves a new contract. He's a free agent after this, upcoming season. So for him not to have a contract going into the season would be a disaster, in my opinion. You need to, have him under contract, and they don't right now. So, definitely something to, maybe Terry and his agency, they're trying to speed up the process. Maybe it's nothing. And maybe, Jordan Schultz just had the source that he's missing practice, but maybe he just had something. Maybe he's, dealing with, okay, so we're back. But yeah, I think overall, it's not a big deal until we really get, the news, oh, Terry's holding on. Even then, I don't think it's a, big deal. I think Adam Peters and Dan Quinn will take care of it. They'll make sure that, he's a Commander for life, hopefully, because, he's one of the better receivers in the league, one of the best humans in the league, really good guy, really good player. And, you want to keep those guys around. So, keeping Terry McLaurin under contract and extending him is a priority. It's going to be over $30 million a year, no doubt. Trust me on that one. It's going to be a lot of money, but I don't think that. Sorry, again, just had to cut it out because this storage issues. But yeah, overall, I don't think it's a big deal with Terry. We'll just have to wait and see, and hopefully they're able to get this contract stuff done. My guess is maybe a few weeks before training camp is when they get it done. That's usually when they get these extensions done. Maybe they get it done early. Maybe, the regime's even different. Ron Rivera and them, they used to get it done like a little bit before training camp with like Logan Thomas, John Allen. I remember it was like the day before. Terry, like the next year, was a few weeks before that. So I could see, Terry anywhere, within the next month or two, getting an extension done. It's May, so yeah, 2 months before training camp is what's going on right now. We'll wait and see what happens, but I'm excited to see this offseason how these players progress. And Jayden Daniels already putting on weight, and then some of the younger players, rookies, everything. It'll be really fun offseason. But yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed, and peace.